The Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast, sponsored by the Lockdown Defense Sports Network, is our weekly show dedicated to elite advice in standard leagues, PPR, and dynasty leagues. We are not guaranteeing you will win anything by our advice, but if you do, we want our cut. Enjoy the show. Are you tired of losing at fantasy football? Well, have a seat. You come to the right place. You're now tuned into the show where champions are made. Where speed meets strategy, elite advice, rapid fire analysis, and winning lineups are provided. It all happens faster than Tyreek Hill's 40 time. So strap in. Let's dominate your draft, crush your matchups, and take a ride all the way to that fantasy goal. Right here on the Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast. Let's go. To all my heavy hitters and lockdown defenders, welcome to the Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Defense, alongside the real AG Alex Givens. We are bringing you the Fantasy Football Podcast for the ages, where champions are made and gold is won in 60 minutes or less. We are getting into week 2 of the fantasy football world, and the real AG.
Yes, sir.
How you feeling after 1 week of fantasy football? Week 2,
hey, man.
Week 1 was crazy.
That was a roller coaster week 1. I'm just glad we're fully entrenched in the fantasy lifestyle now. No more pre-draft hype, no more draft prep. We're in the trenches, ready to roll. Already got a little waiver wire fix. Your boy did pretty good across his 9 leagues. So we're riding high after week 1, even if some players had a lot of low.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. And we will get into that because I had a lot of low, and I didn't win a single league this week. Dynasty or otherwise, it was respectable. But again, with the week 1, I guess you can say the high ADP guys not doing much. It left me hanging. It left me hanging in certain regards. One league, our league, ironically, had I played 2 other guys, I probably would have won. But I mean, was I going to play a Marion Hampton over Travis Etienne with the unknown? And was I going to play Keon Coleman over Ted McMillan? That was a dice roll. So hey, I with a PPR league, I thought Ted was going to get a lot of targets. So I would roll with him. But
he didn't do bad.
It didn't. But I mean, it wasn't Keon Coleman's performance on Sunday night. So that's a difference maker. It only won lost by like 8, something crazy like that. So had I played either one of those guys, I'd have been good money. But it's only week 1. The anomalies and the one-offs, tend to happen in week 1, and then we get back to business and get back to status quo. At least I hope.
I mean, every year there's always that week 1 hero that everyone rushes to pick up, and then they don't do anything, except for Puka Nacua. But
how about that?
Other than that, every year there's someone that's supposed to be the savior for your season after 1 week, and they fizzle out. But I just enjoyed getting to put in claims again,
Right. And we just weird about that because how does the guy that's first in the league get a waiver claim over me in our league? I thought that was odd, but whatever.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. I need to look at that.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, how did he got a cool Kev get a waiver claim over me? He's top in the league, but but speaking of that, as we do ceremoniously throughout our podcast lives, we get into our fantasy weekly. We break down exactly what's happening in our fantasy leagues. We got 2 fantasy leagues going on here, dynasty league and a regular league, and we're going to break down exactly what happened in those leagues this week, especially the fantasy league, the PPR league. So we want to talk about what happened in week 1. Like I said, it was good for some, not good for others. Like I said, I lost to Robert by I think it's less than 8. I only lost by like 6.5.
Yeah, it's close. Like nail biter.
Yeah, you smoked Josh.
Yeah, it was nice. It was a good week 1 for the disc sheep, dude. We came out, even if our disc sheep didn't do too hot at the end of their game.
Yeah, so 5 smoke hurt. That was interesting. We always wondered how they were going to do against each other. Coach D. Bev lost against Keys. Keys, got a righteous victory, almost 20 points. Cody lost to DZ, the reigning champ. He's looking he's looking to build on that momentum for that championship. Yeah, good another 20-point victory plus. And then Cool Cavs, pull out a squeaker. Shout out to Captain Jack. Squeaker 123 to 115. So yeah, that was a good victory. Well, it's like Cool Cavs is top of the league right now. So we talk about week 2. What's going to happen with the matchup? Like I said, it was only 1 week, so we're not going to sell a farm just yet. So here's the lineup and here's the standings. So you and I go head to head.
A house divided.
Yeah, right.
You pause.
Yeah, you and I battle on the fantasy gridiron this week. Week 2, Robert going against Josh. We got Coach D Bev against 5. We got Keith versus Kurt. Cold Cap going against DZ. That's gonna be a good one. Battle of the top seeds there, and I got Cody versus Coach Mike Dub. So yeah, it should be a good one. So right now, you got half the league 1-0, half the league is 0-1. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah, someone's got to take DZ down, man.
They do, man. Got to knock him off the high horse.
Skid.
Yeah, man. He's right. He's building that momentum. And I said it in last week's show. I feel like his team was pretty good. I feel like he definitely drafted a pretty good team. So we just you gotta buckle it up and play hard. When you gotta face him in week 2 weeks.
And I'll say, man, my little 1-2 QB combo of Drake May and Justin Fields looks pretty nice after week 1.
Yeah, too bad it's not a Superflex league. We got both quarterbacks.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was like, damn.
Yeah, right. That's for sure. That is for sure. So yeah, man. We're gonna get we're gonna keep that rolling. We'll see how week 2 shapes out for a lot of people. But we're gonna talk about our quote unquote fantasy advice here in a minute. But and I guess I'll read off what's going on because this dynasty league we're in, boy, it's definitely not suitable for fantasy podcasting.
There's some questionable names, sure.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll read off. What I'm gonna do. I'm gonna create my own graphic for next week. I'm gonna create and use actual usernames versus.
Yeah, I think you can do that. I think you can make it anonymous or something. It'll just say like Team 1. Maybe there's a way to do it.
Okay, well, let's look into that. Let's look into that so we can get the graphic back.
Or we can just blur them out. Blur out the bad ones.
I thought about that as well. I didn't have enough time to blur them out, but it takes a little bit of work. But yeah, I definitely I had my angst when we read them off last week. I was like, damn, I didn't have this. I didn't have
this. Probably shouldn't have shed light on that one. That was one we probably should have just.
Right.
Hey, live and you learn, right?
You do. We learn on the fly, real time. We're learning real time over here. So,
but yeah, it's not safe for work. Let's just put it that way.
Definitely not suitable for work at all. All. So yeah. So last week's week 1, I lost to Sutton. I'm calling S Boyle. I'm not gonna call his name out because his name is flagrant. S Boyle. S Boyle. I lost to S Boyle 154
Shout
to
out
1.
S Boyle, dude. Yeah.
Indeed. You won against Panda. 140 to 101. A Nightmare got smoked by B Shantz, 159 to 132.
Yeah, you got a questionable name. Yeah.
Yeah, there he does. We got my guy Spice. I'm not going to give him the nickname everybody else is giving him. My guy Spice, 146 to 132 over Drew Dudley. We got the Gold Farmer lost to Jay Horning, 157 to 101. And then we got S Rich losing to Riley Shanks. 113.82 to 113.62. That was a tight ball game.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one. So yeah, right now we got Shanks and Jay and Boyles and Spice and you, Shanks, all at 1-0. Everybody else is 0-1. So it's split down the middle. So week 2's matchup, let's talk about that real quick as we get into it. So I'm facing S Rich this week. B Shanks is facing Panda. You got Nightmare. Drew Dudley got the Go Farmer. Jay Horner's got Spice, and S Boys got Riley Shanks. So yeah, that's.
And I'd just like to take this opportunity to shed some light on the absolute just gold mine trade I pulled off before week 1 of sending K. Dotton away for Keon Coleman.
Hey, what did I say? What did I say when you made that trade? I said, you thief.
Hey, but he talked himself into that one, all right? So it is what it is.
You can lead them in the water, but you can't make them think. So that's all I can say. Yeah, that was
looked pretty good after week 1. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I thought we was going to have a good year.
Yeah.
I told you Keon Coleman was going to have a good year, and he did not disappoint coming out week 1, so it should continue.
And then I saw a thing bagging his like separation percentage, and I was like, "What does it matter if they
he's
catch
catching
it?"
the ball, and he's like
There,
6'5".
there's something called a contested catch specialist. Like
That's him.
you don't got to be 10 yards away from everyone.
You know, Adam the
It's
least.
great, yeah.
Adam the least. So yes, we'll see how things roll with that. But that is our wrap up for the Fantasy Weekly. So well, good luck to everybody in our Dynasty League and our Fantasy League. So
Yes, sir.
as we're in to the season, so we now have performances that we can talk about. So we got we're going to talk about our best performance on worst performances, our first segment. So we're going to talk about the top 5 guys at each position that did pretty good, and we'll talk about the top 5 guys that did bad. So you can kind of get a gauge on who's doing well and who's not, and you get I guess you can say a litmus test over the season of who you should move on from or who you should keep. So starting off with the best performance, we've got let me bring this up little big graphic here. So so we got actually I'll just do this for the time being because we're covering up the scores.
Yeah.
So we got the quarterbacks. Of course, Josh Allen went crazy Sunday night. He to 38.8 points in the PPR league. Justin Fields came in second with 29.5. He looked great, although it was a loss for his Jets. He looked really good in that Jets uniform for at least 1 week. Daniel Jones, I don't know, he channeled the ghost of Peyton Manning and Phillip Rivers, but he looked good against the putrid Dolphins to the tune of 29.5. Lamar Jackson going head to head against Josh Allen got 29-4 in that loss, and Justin Herbert rounds out the top 5 at 27-9 from his Friday night game against the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. Over on the running back side, the Ravens running back, we saw Derrick Henry run wild against the Bills. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what's going on that side, but it's
cooking. Then he fumbled, but still cooked.
Still, right.
It's crazy just how fast, like how much separation he can get.
I know
how big and old he is. Right?
Exactly.
And it just doesn't look like he's going fast, but you're like, no, he is. Like
I was watching the game and somebody said that Derrick Henry standing next to the lineman looks like an old lineman. They thought he was an old lineman.
Yeah,
and he's a running back. So imagine that. So clearly not 300 pounds nowhere near, but he's definitely, his height makes him believe that he's of the lineman-esque brand,
right? Yeah,
for sure. So yeah, he got 28.2 points. Javonte Williams on Thursday night got 18.4. Bijan Robinson 18.4 as well, tied for second. James Cook comes in. There was a lot of points scored in that Ravens.
Dude, it was fantasy gold for sure.
It really was. It really was. I don't think we had that peg. We thought that was going to be a defensive struggle. That had been on the biggest game of the week.
Yeah, so those teams don't have defense, I guess.
I guess not. The Jets or the Steelers either, because they put up points in that game.
It was
crazy. So James Cook with 16.2 and Travis Etienne with 15.6 to round out the top 5. So I'll hand it over to you to do the wide receivers and the tight ends. So give me your synopsis of those performances.
Yeah, so wide receivers, obviously a little bit indicative of the top performing QBs a little bit. But Zay Flowers, someone I was not very high on going into the season, opens things up at 28.1. Keon Coleman, we've already kind of been talking about old dog up to this point, but he did pretty good, 25.2. And then Quentin Johnston,
all people
learned how to catch or something, or they just know how to scheme him right now. I mean, they definitely helped him out. Like the first one was, like a uncontested drag, right there. Like, all you gotta do is build. But once he did that and got space, I was like, that's not good. Like we needed him to drop the first one. But yeah, he had 24.9. Undoubtedly is on some team in your league after today. I'm sure he was a hot pickup. And then Emeka Ibuka just balled out for being a rookie.
My God.
Yeah. I mean, with 23.6, and I don't know if our viewers out there have seen, the news, but he basically called the shot to, get the game-winning touchdown, which is just crazy for a guy his first ever game to be like, hey, throw me the ball. Like just the amount of cojones, if needed there on. Right. But so he balled, and then Puka, picked up kind of where he left off when he was healthy last year with 23.1 and even was bleeding from his face at one point. That didn't stop him. So
it did not.
Looking good for him in week 1. And then, the tight ends, I'll say it was, I think overall pretty disappointing week across the league for tight end scoring.
It was.
As well as tight end health. But yeah, it's not a good week for fantasy tight ends when Dalton Kincaid, who usually is just kind of out there, leads the week with 10.8 points, and then my
Mhm.
man Travis Kelce, who I did put in my perfect lineup,
You did.
did get a touchdown. Granted, he only had 2 catches, but he did have 10.7. Brock Bowers, he kind of picked up where he left off last year, but did have an injury scare. But 10.3, and it was, I think, at least good to see the usage, from the jump with him. And then,
Right.
Noah Fant with 8.6 with a trio of tight ends in Cincinnati, and then Zach Ertz tied him with 8.6 as well.
Okay. All right. All right. So there you have it. So at least for week 1, if you drafted these guys, you're doing pretty good.
Dude,
Hopefully you
Philly
got
Mike, man, he just comes in every show with
he
some
does.
wild ass news. I learned my lesson. I posted one time, and then I looked, and I'm like, this man just made me type this out for no reason.
But did he actually say that Micah went to the Packers? Didn't he actually say that the first time?
No, he said something. Micah to the Titans. That's what he said.
Was. Okay, all right.
I remember because I
Yeah, okay.
posted it. I was like,
Yeah.
damn. And then yesterday he was saying something Purdy out for the year, and I was over here searching. And I'm like, get out of here.
You gotta check
Mike.
Yeah,
You gotta
check Twitter first.
fact check him hard. Dude.
You do. Absolutely. Funny guy though. So moving on to the defenses and the kickers. The Broncos defense, which for my estimation, my opinion, saved Bo Nix's hind.
Yeah.
In that game with 14 points going against Cam Ward and the Titans. The Colts made the Dolphins look crazy with 13 points. The Rams, shut down the Texans. They scored 11 points. The Bears, ironically, in a loss, actually put up 11 points against the Vikings, and then the Jaguars. Yeah, they did. You're right about that. You're absolutely right about that. Pick 6 definitely helped. And the Jaguars with 11 as well. They faced my space on who they faced.
Panthers,
yes. So the Panthers took a step back, so they gave up a lot of points there to the Jacksonville Jaguars defense for sure. And kickers, your name that you don't hear often, Spencer Schrader for the Colts, 16 points. Joey Sly for the Titans, 15. Cam Little for the Jaguars, who is
Legatron.
Yes, the real AG's boy.
Legatron.
Yes, the real AG loves Cam Little. So yes, 15 points. He's on the list. Kai Fairbairn with 14, and Chris Boswell with rounded out with 14 as well. So yeah,
you always go for the 99 kick power. All right, that's all I gotta say.
Right for your man nights out there.
Yeah, I don't care about accuracy. Just kick power.
Just kick power. Understood. So there's your best performance of the week. So we'll break that down week to week and give you that rundown and give you that recap so you'll have it fresh in your mind and your data will be accurate. So going forward, we got to talk about the good and the bad as always. There's one with one without the other. So there's just some people out there, in fantasy world that just make you look bad. And it was quite a few this week, because I swear, we talked about this at length, that the people that were drafted high with ADPs did not deliver, especially the wide receivers. The wide receivers were hard, and they just made you want to say,
"You're killing me, Smalls."
You're killing me, Smalls. So yes, the bad performance of the week, your top 5 least favorite fantasy performance of the week.
Yeah,
it was an interesting list, that's for sure. Interesting list. So to start it off, we got Cam Ward, who we talked about earlier. He only had 2.5 fantasy points, which is wild. Sam Darnold came down to reality, I guess, in Seattle. He's no longer with Kevin O'Donnell, so he's coming in hot with the 5.4.
Scorcher, dude.
Right? Yes. Yeah. Yes. So the Tua Tagovailoa, we talked about him getting the Dolphins as a whole looking bad. He had 7.3. Dak Prescott, ironically, only had 7.8 because they ran the ball a lot. And Joe Burrow, well, in fact, CeeDee Lamb just decided he didn't want to catch him in the second half. So you got that, and you got Joe Burrow with 8.8. That was the one we talked about in regards to him and Jamar Chase did not do anything week 1, which is starting to be a thing. Yeah,
just crazy though. Yeah. I'm laughing at Tua played so bad they made so many memes about it. I just keep thinking of the cross-eyed.
It was so bad. It was so bad.
So bad.
Yes, yeah, cross-eyed is definitely the worst one. Funny, but that's jacked up.
I saw another one that was the worst QB, and it was Tua's vision, Tua's accuracy, Tua's it was just Tua.
Oh Jesus, it's brutal.
Yeah,
brutal. Tough. Yes, indeed. So yes, that was your top 5 worst. And I think for people that I wouldn't say that people was high on starting Cam Ward or Sam Darnold, although that's my super flex quarterback.
Yeah.
But Tua and Joe Burrow was probably, you know, decently drafted, and Dak maybe as well. And I'm sure those three guys or three gentlemen let you down this week if you had to start them. And the running backs, it's similarly, which one guy in the middle of this kind of let me down. I thought he had a bigger game. Jerome Ford, who was the top one on here, starting running back for the Browns, they had 0.5. Jahmyr Gibbs with 5 points in the Detroit offense, and that's looking like a mess over there with no coordinators, new coordinators over there. So yeah. Trevion Henderson with 5.1, Austin Eckler with 5.7, and Nick Chubb rounds the list out with 6.0 in his performance against they went against the Rams.
Yeah,
they went against the Rams. So yeah,
I will say though, I think Trevion's going to be all right. I mean,
I agree.
He popped off a pretty nice long run, and Stevenson looked like total ass. So I think it's just a matter of ramping him up.
It's going to be a growing trend. He's going to keep giving him more and more touches until the point where
there's no way you leave the Ferrari in the garage. Let's just put it that way.
You definitely got to take it off for a test drive every now and then, at least.
Sunday drive. That's
the weekend
term for a reason. You know, come on.
Get out the weekend, man. Of course. Of course. Okay. So tell me about his wide receivers and tight ends.
Yeah, man. So wide receivers, like you kind of prefaced, it was just a rough week overall for I think a large majority of the wide receivers taken in round 1 or 2 of most drafts. Not shockingly enough, if you watch the Bengals-Browns game, we have the worst rank, or I guess the 5th worst. It's in the inverse order here. But T. Higgins had 6.3, again, drops, and just had like 6-7 yards of offense in the second half. Scary T, 4.7, just low coverage or low targets, and Debo was kind of heavily involved. But I think some of that was just the fact that he was out most of camp, and they're ramping
ran the ball a lot that game. I think they had like 200 yards on the ground.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that too. So I'm not. Yeah, we'll get into that. But and then Jamar Chase, 4.6, just a total dumper. I think he had 2 catches. 2 catches and like 3 targets, which is just ridiculous. I don't know how you pay the man
all that
you
money.
pay him and don't even try to give him the ball.
Right.
Cooper Kupp kind of fitting, with the atrocity of Sam Darnold's opening act for the Seahawks. Cooper Kupp 3.5 just looked like you put rusty. Just looked rusty. I think the separation skills are unfortunately no longer there for the partially bionic man at this point with all the surgeries he's had. And then Matthew Golden, who some maybe had a little preseason hype with being that explosive piece the Packers offense needed. He did get hurt in the game that kind of I think limited his usage, but he had 3.6. And then moving over to the tight ends, as a kind of preface, looking at our top performers, the top performer only had 10.8. So that should tell you how bad the rest of them were. The absolute worst one was Cade Otton, who, again, subtle flex to me, traded him for Keon Coleman in Dynasty, but he had absolutely no target. He was just out there. I mean, hell, if they didn't keep a track of snap percentages, you wouldn't even known he was out there for the game. TJ Hawkinson, again, 1.5 points, minimal involvement in the game. I mean, it was pretty bad for their passing attack until kind of towards the end.
I'm noticing a trend. I have a lot of players on this list, but go ahead, though.
Well, hey, that's probably why your week 1 wasn't that great. But
there you go.
Chigo Conqua, you had 1.9. Again, I mean, your his QB has 2.5. You can't do much better than that. Dalton Schultz had 2.8. Just a bad offensive day overall for Houston. And then Freiermuth basically got no work. It all went to Jonnu Smith, at least in the relevant part of the field, and he had 2.8 to round it out. I guess tied with Schultz for, fourth worst.
There you go. So I'm looking at. I mean, we're talking about household names here. I got Trevion Henderson on this list. I didn't start Jerome Ford, but the fact that I have him on my roster is bad. Nick Chubb was on my roster somewhere. Jamar Chase, my number 1 overall pick, didn't do jack. Matthew Golden, I got him in the league, and he didn't do jack. TJ Hawkinson, another guy I got, he didn't do jack. So it was a rough week. But again, I'm going to.
I will say, I think there's a few that will not be on here.
I agree. Took the words right out of my mouth. I would say definitely it's only an anomaly, not a trend. Yeah. So we'll see how things roll. But those are your worst performance for the week. So again, if you're on this list like me, you probably had a bad week. But I'm going to say don't panic. We'll get into that about what your strategy should be for week 2 later on in the show. So going forward, let's get into our next segment. Let's talk about We forgot about
We
second.
forgot about the ass defenses and kickers. How
I
could
just
we?
wanted to get out. I just wanted to get out. I'm sorry.
I get it. Hey, yeah, there it is. Now you see it.
Right, yeah, right. It is right. You know. So the Ravens -3, clearly giving up 41 points to the Bills. The Bills on this list as well. So is the Dolphins 0 and the Lions 0. The Cowboys 1. So they had rough weeks if you played those defenses. If you had kicker Riley Patterson, Josh Carty, Matt Gay, Jake Moody, who's now released, and Ryan Fitzpatrick for Carolina. You had, I would argue 5 points isn't terrible.
Fitzgerald.
Ryan Fitzgerald. I'm sorry.
Fitzpatrick. I'm like, he kicking now? Damn.
Right.
Yeah, hey.
With the chest hair out.
Yeah, just like
with the
little gold chain. Just
exactly.
Open fleece jersey. Just all right, snap it.
Right. And before he kicks, he just rubs it.
Has a cigarette in. Just all right, snap it.
Yeah. Is Fitzpatrick rubbing his oiling his chest?
Like that. What's that water boy when he's doing that? Yeah, the coach. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Oh man, yeah. So yeah, Ryan Fitzgerald kicked 5 points for the Carolina Panthers. So did Jake Moody, but Jake Moody's no longer with the San Francisco 49ers. So we got to fix that as well. And that's actually a pretty good segue to our next pickup. Next segment is we're going to talk about the replacements, injuries, and roster moves. So it's not an extensive list, thankfully, just yet regarding people that are injured, but we want to keep you abreast and keep you alive and keep you up to date in regards to people that are injured for week 2 and likely may not play. So we want to talk about the injured players and who we think will be good replacements for them in your waiver wire ads, and who might be a sneaky pickup that nobody's actually added right now. So you can go ahead and swoop that up and get ready for this week. So starting off with the quarterbacks, one is we talked about the 49ers a minute ago, Brock Purdy. He went from questionable to doubtful, in my opinion, based upon what Kyle Shanahan is talking. He's a long shot to play on Sunday, excuse me. Mac Jones is gearing up to start. He's likely getting all the reps in practice, so that'll be interesting to see him out there. Austin Eckler took an injury, which is a growing trend for him, apparently, but yeah.
James Cook also limited today.
Oh, another one. So breaking news. Well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. So yeah, add James Cook to the list of questionables. So him and Austin Eckler for the running backs are questionable, along with Brock Purdy, who was actually downgraded to doubtful today. So we'll get that rolling. But from a wide receiver perspective, again, more 49ers on this list. We got Juwan Jennings, who's seemingly ridiculously questionable. They don't know exactly what is the deal with his injury in the severity. I'd probably give him like 10 scans by now, and they still don't know for sure. They're kind of being mums worried about that, which tells me if you're very quiet about it, which means it's telling me it's not good. That's in my experience. So we'll see how things shake out there. But be on the lookout if you got Juwan Jennings in your lineup to maybe sit him for this week because he might be out. Drake London is questionable as well, but I think he's more of a cautionary. I think he'll play based upon the reports I've seen, along with Jaden Reed. He was questionable going into week 1, but he is questionable going into week 2. But nothing I've seen, unless you can see something different than I have, AG, that he's going to be any different than he was in week 1.
No, I did. Yeah, I agree. I think Juwan Jennings is the only up in the air one, really the whole 49ers offense at this point.
Right.
But yeah, and then just to add, just to update our list off of Wednesday, Malik Neighbors, Jalen Waddle, and hot waiver wire pickup Booty all limited today in practice.
Keyshawn Booty? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So there you have it. There you have it for the wide receivers. So wide receiver position, although most of them didn't do well this past week, all banged up. So what is that about?
Well, I guess I should also add Xavier Worthy, but all news with him is, no surgery, no IR. So
yeah. So it's probably a week-to-week thing for him as well.
Yeah. Which I don't like if it is actually a dislocated shoulder, but hey.
Right.
Got to do what you got to do, I guess.
I guess. It just depends. I've had one in my playing career. And luckily for me, I didn't tear anything. So I was only out a week, and then I played the very next week. So, in my job, I'm a linebacker. So a little bit different, from a linebacker perspective. I need my shoulders every single play.
Yeah.
He's the worst
Well,
wide receiver. I mean, I get hit on
you
him every
also
single play.
you also probably had didn't weigh $130
I
soaking
do.
wet, and
I did not.
you
Not,
get
no. More like
yeah
the 230 range. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Didn't mean that in any bad way. Just
Oh no,
he's a
and I get it.
linebacker. Yeah,
Linebackers
yeah,
shouldn't weigh a buck 90 soaking wet. No, you
yeah,
should.
yeah.
I don't think you're gonna have a lot of success if you weigh a buck 90 playing linebacker. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I would pray for a linebacker like that across from
Oh
me,
yeah, that's barbecue
unless they were ridiculously fast.
True. That part too. Yeah, that part too. They just run around you.
Yeah.
But yeah, outside of that, if you get your paws on them, he's over. That's it. That is it. So yes. So that was your wide receiver injuries. And tight ends. George Kittle went on IR yesterday. He's gonna be out at least 4 games. So definitely look to replace him because I know he went high in people's drafts because everybody thought that he was gonna be the most consistent target for the 49ers, and they're all falling apart like paper mache right now. So that's bad
He
news.
did ball out in the first half, though.
Until he got hurt. Right.
Yeah.
Until he didn't. Right. Yes, indeed. So George Kittle's on IR, so he's done. You got to replace him for sure. Evan Ingram, is a growing trend with him apparently with his questionable status.
He
with
did practice today, though.
Right. So he is questionable, but I think he's more trending towards playing. And same thing with Brock Bowers. And with them having an extra day when they don't play till Monday night, I think he'll be fine. He made it seem like right after the game that it was just a cautionary thing. They didn't want to re-hit him to aggravate it when the game was already quote unquote in hand. So I think that's the only thing that kept him out of the last game. So he should be back against the Chargers on Monday night. So we'll see how that goes. But moving on to who we feel like is going to be a replacement for these guys. I think that Trevor Lawrence is a trending topic here for a pickup if you're missing Brock Purdy or somebody else. Michael Penix Jr., if he's in your waiver wire, pick him up, and the old man Aaron Rodgers, who looked good on Sunday. He was available in a lot of leagues, so if you didn't pick him up already, he's a viable candidate to replace Brock Purdy. Running backs, Nick Chubb for the Houston Texans. I think they'll do better this week running the ball than they did last week. Trey Benson, who again, Cool Kev sniped me for because I don't see how me being an 0-1, him being 1-0 could get a waiver wire claim over me. But hey, whatever. Yeah. So he's stacking his team over there. No shade. And then Tyler Algier, who's the backup to Bijan Robinson, who they in a heavy run offense, so he should be able to get you some good flex play if nothing else. If you need a running back. All right, so forward number to wide receivers, Alex, tell me about these guys. How you feel about these replacements?
Yeah, so we got Cedric Tillman, who's pretty much fully entrenched as wide receiver 2 in Cleveland. He had, like 7 or 8 targets, caught a touchdown.
A lot of targets.
So yeah, he's kind of quietly emerging as I think pretty solid fantasy option. Quentin Johnston, I'm not overly high on, but that's because he's done me dirty in the past. But definitely had a solid week 1. We'll see how he builds off of that. But I think if you're in a pinch, you could probably rely on him. At least involvement. Yeah, but
sparingly, yes.
Yeah, and then Booty, if you caught my Tuesday morning sleepers video, I was pretty high on Booty. I got pretty favorable stats when he's out there with Drake May. Had a hell of a week 1. I think 11 targets. Was fully involved in the passing attack, so I think that's going to continue. And then tight ends, it's slim pickings out there already. But you got Jake Ferguson, Brenton Strange, who had a quietly successful week 1 with Jacksonville. Whatever that means for Jacksonville. But and then it's kind of a surprising one too. Harold Fandon Jr. They had 2 decent tight ends, fantasy wise in week 1 with Njoku and him. And I'd also put, why am I blanking on his name? Juwan Johnson. I'd put him on here too.
Yeah, good one. Yeah.
He had 16 targets. Taysom Hill's out until at least week 5. So,
right.
I imagine the Saints are going to be behind in a lot of games. They're going to have to pass. And really, they only have Kamara, Johnson, and Olave. So, take your pick.
There you go. Okay, so that's good stuff. So we had Juwan Johnson.
I wanted to say Jennings too. That's why I was like, that's not it.
That's right. Juwan Johnson to the list. The Saints tight end. Now, grant you, taper your expectations for the Saints being, high powered, but like you said, they'll probably be trailing a lot of games, so they will be throwing the ball heavy. So whoever is the quarterback, Rattler or whoever, should be throwing the ball a lot, and at least is there opportunities there if nothing else?
Yeah.
Opportunities there. So yeah, all right.
That's all you can ask for when you're looking for.
If he gives you the targets, you got to hope he reel them in, especially in PPR leagues. If he gets 16 targets and 15 catches, that's at least he hit 15 points. We got a full PPR league, so hey, that's not a bad day. It's not a bad day at all. All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about our next segment called the Panic Room. So, it was definitely a week one for the books, I guess you can say. It definitely was very uncustomary performances for a lot of people, and we collectively have been getting a lot of questions already in week one. Should people push the panic button on certain players? So we're going to give our advice in regards to especially the high end guys that people are quote unquote said, should I trade them? Should I move them now? Should I drop them? Should I not start them? That kind of thing. So, in kind of in the same vein, we'll talk about our top performers or worst performers. Alex, give me, I'm starting off with you, and I'll give another player as well. So, what player do you think that underperformed in week one that you maybe got some questions about that quote unquote you want to give your advice on is whether or not you should push the panic button or not on them?
Yeah, I think the biggest one I panicked on I know we kind of had some chatter, backstage planning for the show, and I don't think he ended up on the list, but I think the two biggest ones I'm panicked about in terms of their week one performance are the Browns, AJ Brown and St. Brown.
Oh,
Just both. AJ Brown, I mean, had literally no involvement in the game, and you question, where new coordinator. It looked to be a pretty run heavy scheme, a lot of short RPO type passes and letting Jalen Hurts, use his athletic ability. And so, I'm genuinely concerned as to how the outlook looks, season long of AJ Brown being heavily involved in their passing attack. And St. Brown, I have higher hopes for just because he is a dog. And
yes.
like you got to imagine they're going to feed him the ball. But we saw week one, we said all offseason, Lions are going to take a step back. Their offense is going to look different without Ben Johnson. And damn, it did week one, man. So, I think we'll see a better Lions offense, a better performance out of Amon-Ra St. Brown in week two. But, those are the two I'm probably the most concerned about.
Yeah, I think long term, I would be concerned about AJ Brown as well. I'm just not sure exactly what's going on there. Because you can't sit here and argue. I mean, I guess you can say that Trayvon Diggs and company in that secondary were doing a really good job on him. But, I think that because it's scheduled tough, they play two tough divisions, outside of their own. I think you're going to see a lot of good secondaries. So I would be concerned about AJ Brown's fantasy upside going forward. I would kind of treat it as a matchup week to week. And there's, a bit of a insider news advice, from my perspective. Look at, the secondaries they're going against each and every week and the corners they're going to face, because he's going to draw the first corner every single time. He's not going to be covering by the second or third string corner. He's going to be covered by the number one guy. So if Patrick Surtain is coming to town, he's going to be seeing Patrick Surtain all game long.
Yeah.
Jaylon Johnson, Sauce Gardner, just
McDuffie this week.
He got McDuffie this week, Derek Stingley, guys like that. If they're coming to town and he's going to draw that matchup all night long, and I would hedge my bet in regards to him playing well or getting you a lot of fantasy points for sure. But I believe what you believe. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is pretty fantasy proof. He'll find his way to some points. He had
6.5. It's not terrible, but
but it's not what we're used to. It's not what we're used to for sure. So for me, I want to talk about the Bengals. We've seen quote unquote them start, slow in the past, 3 or 4 seasons. Hell, it might be the whole entire time Joe Burrow's been in Cincinnati since he had those weapons, right? Since year 2. They've started slow. They've gone 0-2, 0-3, sometimes 0-4 before they really get going. And that's the tricky part, because he's drafted them high. Do I play them? I would say that, because we even got a guy in one of our leagues, he drafted both. He stacked him and Burrow and Chase, so, until they get going, he's probably going to struggle.
Yeah.
So what you probably have to do is try to build and rely on your supporting cast till they get going. Now, hopefully they get going quicker than, because they paid a little preseason, they got a little more, chemistry and stuff like that going earlier. So hopefully the train will start rolling in week 2, 3 versus 4, 5. But I would say that you don't trade them, you don't get rid of them. You just have to build up your supporting cast around them to support them until they get rolling. So, but I wouldn't sell a stock on them at all in that space either. So just kind of be patient. Just be patient with with those two, because even T. Higgins, if he's a flex guy, because I think that they will get rolling eventually. It's just a question of when, not if but when.
Yeah.
So
they always. I mean,
yeah.
I feel like they always start bad week one.
Yeah.
Like even they did win, but I mean, they notoriously get like blown out week one, and it's like, damn, are the Bengals terrible? And then they turn it around. So
yeah,
right now, par for the course is what they normally do.
Correct. Absolutely. So yes, I would say that. And another two guys on my list I got a lot of questions about is Omarion Hampton and TreVeyon Henderson. I would argue that Omarion Hampton's usage or quote unquote lack thereof for the week one was basically on the Kansas City defense's run defense. I think that was the only thing that really stymied him. I think he's going to have a better week two.
Yeah.
And going forward. So I think that outside of facing KC, who you going, and maybe the Houston Texans is probably the toughest run defense he's going to see. And the Eagles probably another one, is probably the three toughest run defenses he's going to see all season. So you got those 2 weeks, and that 1 week against the Eagles will be the one that you can ultimately see. Now I would say the Giants as well, but you saw what Commanders did. Commanders ran all over him. So I would say that according to what Greg Roman's track record is, if he can run the ball, he will. But if he knows it's going to be a tough sledding thing, regarding to facing a tough run defense, you see what he did, and he's kind of switch it up. He's going to pass the ball more, but I wouldn't sell my stock on Omarion Hampton either, because once he gets the opportunities, he's going to shine, in my opinion. Same thing with TreVeyon Henderson. We talked about that earlier at the top of the show. I think that he's going to be good. I think he's just going to be patient with him and maybe flex him from now in between his special teams and his running back usage. I think he'll ramp up more and more, and by the time we get to week 6 or 7, he'll probably be RB1. If he's doing well. So I'm high on that as well. I would stick with him.
Yeah,
I'm you.
I'd agree with both of those. One I would note in the RB realm is Kenneth Walker, though.
Yeah,
I mean, he ceded a whole lot of carries to Charbonnet.
He did.
I think I've pulled it. He had 10 carries for 20 yards. And I don't know if some of that was he kind of had a lingering foot problem most of preseason camp, and some of that was just not wanting to immediately give him 30 carries.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, I guess we'll see what week 2 comes up against Pittsburgh. But I mean, if he's in some kind of timeshare, that's not good.
No, it's not. And I feel like the more productive carries are coming from Charbonnet. I think they're getting more juice out of Charbonnet, so they might lean more heavily on him and kind of use Kenneth Walker in a reserve role. If you had to bet. So yeah, and
is Kenneth Walker? I mean, I should probably look this up, but I wonder, is he like? Yeah,
I was going to say the same thing, and I think it might be like, well, let's dial him back so we don't got to pay him. Who knows?
Yeah, because I mean, hell, if you give him the rock, 40 times, then
he's going to garner a big paycheck in off season for sure.
Oh, that's why. I'm like, what is this? I typed in Kyle Walker.
Oh, no, not him. I know who Kyle Walker is. Maybe he's a UFL guy. I don't know. But yeah, so I would say, I would definitely lean more on Zach Charbonnet for a flex option, if nothing else. I think he's going to be more productive out the gate for sure. For sure. So I had another guy. I'm trying to think of it.
It is contract year for him, though.
So yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I mean, which is dirty pool to me. You tell him back the guys such as because you don't want to him to have a Pro Bowl year on, you have to pay him more. But that's the way they do in the NFL. And unfortunately,
with running backs for some reason,
right. Which I mean, you could argue a bunch of things. You say you scale him back, you don't use him as much. I mean, you don't wear his tires down so easily. But in the same breath, the guy wanted to get paid. He probably only has one opportunity to get paid off his rookie deal. So yeah, I would say that depending on what Seattle does, it might be more Zach Charbonnet than Kenneth Walker. Especially,
I mean, he had 10 points. Let's see, how many carries did he have? He had 12 carries. So I mean, they literally split it between the two of them. And I mean, they were that game was. I mean, they weren't like overly behind, but they weren't like focused on the run at later on. But another one I'd note is Jerome Ford, which I know I mentioned in my.
I'm selling this stuff.
Yeah,
with Quishon Judkins being signed, then
Judkins signed. Sampson looked pretty solid. Ford didn't do anything, so yeah. I mean, unfortunately, that the limited potential that was there all has fizzled away. Judkins signing was the first pillar to fall, and then him just having no usage in week 1 at all. It was the final domino effect, if you will.
There you go. All right. So yeah, that's what we have for our panic room. Do you need to push a button on these players or not? I think we were pretty concise on what we feel like these guys should do. Most guys we saying be patient on, only a few guys we think you might want to choose other options. So we'll see how things go down the road. But
yeah.
Moving on to our next section, let's talk about the games of the week. Let's talk about what's might be some more of lucrative fantasy options, this week in regards to what games, and should be a lot of scoring, for fantasy perspective. So anything that peeks out at you from the week 2 games that should be fantasy gold for you?
Yeah, I think the most prominent one, and this is probably just a little bit of blinder bias after week 1, but I am playing every Patriots player possible against Miami. you know, you
yeah.
know, yeah.
Yeah.
I just they looked decent week 1. First game of a lot of they had new pieces in their offense. Miami looked totally trash.
Shell
So
shocked.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think this is a big Travion Henderson game.
Talk about it.
So I think that's definitely a good one to keep keep the lookout if you're looking at who to put in your lineup.
Okay. Yeah, it's a lot of defensive battles here. We said that last week, and then some people just decided
Right.
not to
Yeah.
Judging by the at least from a run game perspective, judging by how much yards they give up on the ground for both teams, the Ravens and the Browns game might be a running fest. So I think Derrick Henry, I think Quishon Judkins or Dylan Sampson, who's going to be running the ball in Cleveland week 2, should have a good one. Those tight ends as well. So yeah, I think that those two that matchup is, at least from a run defense perspective, and Lamar Jackson for sure should eat heavily. Hell, I would even give Dallas Cowboys some credit by running the ball how they ran the ball on the Eagles. I would say they might run the ball again on the Giants. If Giants give up 20 yards to Commanders, they definitely should give up some yards to Cowboys as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's another good one.
And Bills Jets, I think that's going to be a big. I mean, Bills couldn't stop the run.
They
Jets
cannot.
are going to. I mean, they used the hell out of Breece Hall and Justin Fields running the ball week 1.
Yeah,
so.
there you go. There you go. So what does Seattle going to do against Steelers? The Steelers gave up a lot of yards on the ground too. So is Jack Charbonnet going to have a breakout game? We can see about that. That's a good one. But I would hedge my bet on Kyron Williams playing against that Tennessee Titans front, because Jeffrey Simmons and Tondre Sweat is locking the run game down last week. So that was one I would stay away from, just as a quick advice moment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we'll see how things roll with that. But I even like Omar Hampton against the Raiders. I think that's a good one. So I think it's going to be a good running back week in its entirety. I think the wide receiver still going to be getting moving slow this week, but the running back should eat this week for sure. For my money. How do you feel about the Bears-Lions game? Because I think the Lions defense and the Bears offense, that's an awkward pairing for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. To be like, I think before I watch the Monday night game, kind of looking ahead, I'm like, oh, Ben Johnson's going to have so much stuff cooked up to just kind of just wipe the floor with them. But then, they didn't look that great. They started the game really hot, looked pretty good. I think I even messaged that, like, Caleb looks pretty good, and then he just started to not look good. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that one. Outside of the fantasy cornerstone players, I don't know that I'm playing too many guys in that game. Outside of the St. Brown, maybe Laporta.
Yeah.
I guess either of the QBs if that's where you're stuck with, but I'm not trying to play Swift or DJ Moore or any of those guys really. And I kind of feel the same way about the Jacksonville Bengals game. Like I was
gonna say that sounds like a good one. At least for ETN.
It sounds like one, but I kind of thought the same with the Bengals Browns last year. Maybe that's just because it was an AFC North game, but that was just not a great fantasy game unless you're playing their defense, I guess. But we thought Jacksonville and Carolina would kind of have fantasy gold last week, and Jacksonville outside of the running game didn't really look all that great passing. Like Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. are just not on the same page. I think he connected with them once out of 10 targets.
It was one for a touchdown, but still
that was like an end around. I think passing the ball, he didn't even it was mostly Travis Hunter for some reason.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know, but Bengals defense is bad. So
it is. So I'm starting Etienne this week. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm starting Etienne.
Oh yeah,
I'm
I mean, you
taking
have to. He's coming off of like 140 yards, or whatever, like
exactly.
his second best ever.
And it's Leon Cohen, so I'm definitely taking that bet all day, especially since they got rid of Take Biscuit as well. Him and Bush, it's in the Tootin's backfield now, so yeah, I like that. I like that for sure. I just think it's a running back day because I looked at the Cardinals the Cardinals in the Panthers game. Trey Benson and James Conner can have a field day against that Panthers defense as well. So I think it's gonna be a running back central to this week.
Yeah,
Ariane Hampton.
How you feel about Genty, however you say it?
I was going to ask you about that in the padding section. Do you think that that performance week one is an anomaly, or do you think that it's going to continue based upon his O-line's production? Do you think he's going to have struggle here?
I think he's going to struggle. I mean, he's going to get. They're going to use him, obviously.
Oh yeah,
he had 19 carries, but he's not going to be. I mean, I don't think he's going to be popping off like he did at Boise. And I mean, first and foremost, it's not Mountain West Conference he's playing in anymore.
Yeah, that part.
We kind of saw how he looked against Power 4 team.
Right, real competition. Yeah.
But I think you'll see a lot of kind of the stat line you saw in week one, hella carries, 40 yards and a touchdown, because that's always been my concern with them. But you can't tell a Raiders fan that because God forbid, especially coming from me. But I was like, yeah, you're gonna get the best running back in the world, but if you don't have your offensive line solidified, I mean, what good's it gonna do unless it's Saquon Barkley or someone with this God-given. But even that, I mean, you saw how he looked.
Giants,
But I mean, Jonty doesn't have those ability to break 3 tackles immediately and get an open space like that. He's not that type of guy. So
agreed.
And I mean, to the Chargers' credit, in week one, I mean, Chiefs didn't really run the ball all that much, but maybe some of that's because they were stuffing it for the most part. So I think you see, I think his ceiling is this kind of stat line. I don't think we're going to see 100-yard plus games out of Jonty.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of say the same sentiment, but we get labeled as haters real quick because we're rivals. So I gotta keep out of that fight.
I got him in a couple leagues. I mean, I want him to be good, but
yeah, right. But this reality looks like it might be a struggle bus movement. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. So we'll see how things grow. And I think our run defense was solid week one. I think it should continue week two, especially with I feel like your online was better than the Raiders. So I think we should. Pop off with the same performance against them. So we'll see how things roll. But yeah, if I have in my league, I would try to start somebody else, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe try to trade him. Someone
maybe somebody's
always a Raiders fan in your league that will take they'll take the whole team if they could.
Right. Powers, Myers, everybody. Bring them all. Send them all. Yep. So yeah, but I think holistically games of the week, man, I think that it's going to be a running back heavy week. I think we'll see Trey Henderson top off ETN. I think you want to see Derrick Henry run wild. I think you want to see Marion Hampton. Who else was on my list? Trey Benson and James Conner, Breece Hall. Braylon Allen. So yeah, all those guys should be. Even Javonte Williams for the Cowboys. I think they're all going to be, big time performance this week. So look out for that for sure. Alrighty, so let's move on down the line. Let's talk about our segment called the Perfect Lineup. So, in the same vein of who we think is going to do well this week, we talk a lot about the running backs. But we have a segment we do week to week called the Perfect Lineup. We give you our best matchups of the week. Every player from each position, we're going to give you a full team lineup of guys that we feel like is going to be a fantasy goal for you this week. So if you play these guys in best ball, or if you have these guys in your lineup holistically, they should do well for you. So starting off with my lineup for week 2, I got Joe Burrow against the Jaguars. I think he's hopefully and willfully he's gonna get rolling and get chasing targets. I won't look like a fool for 2 weeks. Going against that secondary for the Jaguars, which a lot of people argue that's probably their weakest spot. Chris McCaffrey against the Saints because he has nobody else to rely on. Kittle's out. Purdy might not play, so he should run the ball a lot against the Saints, in my opinion. Marion Hampton, the Raiders, talked about that earlier. I think he's gonna have a good game. Puka Nacua, who's pretty much fantasy proof for anybody he's facing, but him going against that Titans defense should look pretty well because I think that Tre'Davious Ward is in concussion protocol, so he may or may not play. So if you lose your starting corner, it's Ladarius Sneed. I'm sorry, Ladarius Sneed.
I don't think he played last week, did he?
He came out the game. I think he got a concussion in that game. So if you don't come out of protocol in time, he probably won't play. So they lose that top corner against him. Might be a long day.
Mm-hmm.
Might be a long day.
Serve that.
Yeah, so I think Nico Collins as well gets going against the Buccaneers. That should be a good matchup for him. I like Trayvon Bryant against the Panthers. I think that defense should allow for a lot of targets for him. Like Devon A. Chan against the Patriots as well. I think them playing in that warm weather stadium in Miami should bode well for them. So I'm taking every time they play in warm weather, I might hedge my bet on Dolphins and might play a 1 or 2 if I do have them. But I'm not going to play them in cold weather at all. Evan McPherson against the Jags. I think he has a good day. And the Broncos defense against the Colts. I think Daniel Jones come back to the earth, and he ultimately will succumb to that stingy Broncos defense. For sure.
There's a defense to do it. It's Denver. So
gotta be there. Absolutely.
Come on.
Right. Exactly. All right. So let's move on to Real AG's lineup for this week. He's got some interesting ones on here. I like a lot of them.
Yeah. Hey, I went a little spicy. Some of them. I will when I get to it. I'll explain one of them. But yeah, I figured you like my QB with Justin Herbert. But like I said in my video dropping tomorrow on Chiefs, reviewing the Chiefs game. Looking forward. Got to give credit where credit's due. Herbert outdueled Mahomes and looked pretty damn solid. And it finally looked like the coaching staff, everything clicked to set him up and put him in the right position. And if they, continue to make call games like that, I find it hard to see really any matchup that Herbert has where he's not going to be a fantasy relevant QB. And I think against the Raiders, he doubles down what he did in week 1 and balls out again. Breece Hall, I know he's fooled me a few times and hurt me a few times, but he had a hell of a week 1. Aaron Glenn, has been harping all offseason about establishing a run game. They use that pretty extensively in week 1, and I think they do that against the Bills, who showed in week 1 that they could not contain the run. I know it was Derrick Henry, but damn.
Yeah.
Damn. So then ETN, had, like you said, had his, I think, either his best or his second best career game in yardage. They got Liam Cohen. We've been kind of low-key hyping up all Jacksonville running backs. I think he's going to ball against the Bengals. They're going to need him to, with just how their passing attack look. CeeDee Lamb against the Giants, I think we saw him, right? He's out for blood, hitting the jugs machine the minute it gets off the plane. Right. I think he's coming out in a vengeance, full force against the New York Giants. Puka, I made my list, saw you had him on there, but I love Puka so much against the Titans that I just had to keep it. So we try not to double up on the perfect lineup, but that one's just too good to not keep in there twice.
Right.
Tight end was a tough one for me to think of who could be, outside of the obvious one. I try not to think of and I try to put every number 1 pick of the position on my lineup every week. But I think Tucker Kraft, he very well might be the number 1 passing option for Green Bay, just with how injured and sporadic their receiver room is. He was out there for 99% of their snaps and caught a touchdown. So I think he continues to kind of build off that, but he is very much a boomer bust player. He's touchdown dependent on it really popping, but I think he gets a touchdown against the Commanders. Right. I've already kind of been sprinkling my flex play as we've been reviewing and previewing, but TreVeyon Henderson, let me just, sprinkle some facts. He led the Pats last week in rushing on just 5 carries, also had 6 targets, and that was all just playing 35% of their snaps. So, I think they gave a little taste to see what they had, probably like what they saw, and they're gonna come out full force with TreVeyon against the Dolphins. I like the Steelers defense against the Seahawks. We already explained how ass Sam Darnold looked. Right. Running game, they don't know what they're doing, so I like the Steelers defense to pop off against them. And then I'm doubling down on Legatron 2.0, man, Cam Little. Against the Bengals, because even if I think Jacksonville's going to move the ball, but they showed week 1 they can't score all that well. So Cam Little is going to come in and get that quick 3.
And he did. There it is. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. So you have any of these gentlemen in your lineup this week, you should do well. And, please come back, throughout the week, hit us up on socials, hit us up in the comments or whatever you got to do. Let us know how those these picks worked out for you. But we do feel confident it's going to be running back centric, and Dave definitely. You can see we got a bunch of running backs even in the flex. We got running backs all over the place. So I think it should be a good running back week and a good defensive week for sure for week 2. So yeah, play those guys and sleep well. That's all I can tell you. That's all I can tell you. All right. So
close your eyes. Just hit
there you go.
Submit.
Just hit save and sleep well. That's it. No stinker tinkering. No stinker tinkering. All right. So as we do customary at the bottom of the show, we give time and place for questions. If anybody has any questions live. If you need any questions asked in between shows, we have on the bottom of the screen our fantasy football advice hotline. The number is, if you're listening to us on audio, it's 240-249-2220. Once again, it's 240-249-2220. Call us, leave us a voicemail, and give us your questions. If you wanted to be aired or live on the show, please let us know that. But definitely call us in between shows and get your fantasy football questions answered, which I'll get you back to you on that on short order. But if you have any questions live right now in the chat that you want to get off, till you get your lineups done now, please drop them in the chat. As always, in between that, hit that subscribe button on the Lightning Fast Fantasy Football YouTube channel. So as we grow this algorithm in this business to higher heights, we want to get that subscriber number up. Please do that. It's free to do. In support and help us grow this platform. But yeah. So we'll give a few moments to anybody got any questions that's listening to us live. And like I said, if you're not available live, you listen to this on replay, drop us a line or voicemail or hit us up on socials. And I'll post that as well as while we're waiting on that. Here's the hotline number. If you need that, that is the graphic for that. Like I said, we'll get a number 240-249-2220. And if you need us on socials, here's all our information. We're Lightning Fast FF on all platforms: YouTube, TikTok, X or Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So, and if you need to email us for any detailed information, it's lightningfastff@gmail.com. So, yes.
For any business inquiries.
Right. Any business inquiries, please drop us a line. Indeed. So, yeah. So, we'll hold for a couple of seconds for any questions, but, hope everybody has a good week too. Week one, from my perspective, it was an anomaly. And I think that the guys that you draft the high should, bring forth fantasy production, just give them time. But yeah, so, if you missed any part of this, please go back, look back at the replay. And we gave us some good advice in the middle of this about who we think is going to be a panic, move, or who's going to be a patience move. So check that out. And we'll be back next week with week 3. We're here each and every week, Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on this channel. And we know we're going to keep rolling and get you to that fantasy goal. This is one place where champions are made. So as a parting, I guess you can say, moment, AG, you got anything to add that you want to let the fans know they need to get going for fantasy football week 2?
I mean, no, not really anything to add. I'll just say good luck to everyone out there. I hope you all ball out unless you're in a league with me and I play you.
That would be me.
Hey, well, respectfully. I said with all due respect, okay?
Right. Which means the disrespect is coming. That's right. That's right. It is all love, even in war. It is all love. It is all love. So yes, indeed. Good luck, but not too much good luck is all I got to say. Indeed. All right. So there are no questions in the chat this week, which is very rare. So we'll look for the backlash.
Start popping too soon.
I said we'll get to it either offline or in between shows. Somebody hit us up on Instagram or Twitter. They'll be like, "Hey man, I got a problem here. What do I do?"
Yeah.
What do I do?
What do I do, man?
Exactly. So yeah. So but yeah. If you're looking for us in between shows, please hit us up on social. Drop us a voicemail. Let us know that you want us to air your questions or not, or we'll just give you a private response and we'll get that going. And like I said, we'll be back next week, Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for week 3. You should go on for that next matchup, and we'll hope everybody has good success and get a victory this week, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. So that'll do it for us, man. So that is the real AG Alex Givens, and I am Coach Defense, man. Until next week, we'll see you when we see you. Step up and lock it down.